Every farmer has a story that deserves to be heard. And we are here to listen. Growing together. Corteva Biologicals.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Thursday edition of the show. Thanks so much, everybody, for making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a big part of your workday. It is great to have everybody here. Today's show is brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. We're growing together. To learn more, visit biologicals.corteva.ca. We're going to be hearing from Tammy Jones from Corteva. She's the lead of the biological portfolio at Corteva. Looking forward to chatting with her. She's a wily veteran here of the show. We've had Tammy on quite a few times on RealAg Radio. So they've got a great lineup of biologicals at Corteva. You know, definitely talk to your local retailer. Go to Corteva's website. Talk to your local Corteva rep. There's lots of opportunities to engage and find out more. Ask some good questions. Where do they work? Tammy always says this. You know, different products are different fits for different acres. So make sure you ask some of those questions. In which situations would that biological be the right fit for my farm, given the current growing season conditions? Today on the Farmer Rapid Fire, we got a great lineup, some great producers. We're going to talk to Ethan Wallace out of Seaforth, Ontario. Nic Dubuc is out of Quebec. Randy Court is out of Manitoba. And Erickson is out of Alberta. Now, if you have any feedback on today's program, we would love to hear from you. Send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can also find Real Agriculture across all the different social media platforms. You're also more than welcome to, of course, always call the Real Ag feedback line. That number is 855-776-6147. Speaking of feedback, I got an email here from Tim, who farms in North Dakota, who says, hey, really love the show. Living in North Dakota, I can really relate to farming in the north on the prairies, where most of your audience is. Really looking forward to the Thursday show for the Farmer Thoughts. Hey, thanks, Tim. Really do appreciate it. I look forward to Farmer Thoughts as well. Lots of concern out there in farm country regarding the tariff issues. Of course, there's the U.S. tariffs, there's the China tariffs, and trying to keep it all straight it's pretty confusing and numbing, to be honest with you. I got an email from David, who says, hey, I would have expected the Canola Council to be a bit more proactive on this important detail, but for the most part, they're just crickets. Something could be brewing. China could have tariffed all canola, but chose only meal and oil. It leaves the door open to ensure supplies. Hey, appreciate that email very much. I've had a few emails kind of like that one. People wondering why not seed at this point. I encourage you to go back to yesterday's conversation that I had with Arlen Suderman of StoneX. And, you know, some people believe that China tariff on canola is coming. Like it's going to happen. Some believe, like you just got the email there from David, who said, you know, hey, listen, the door is still open here. We can still ship seed. The problem is, the reality is that the futures market has reacted to the meal and the oil tariffs. And so even if the door is still open to ship inventory to China, it's going to be at a less price than it would have been prior to this tariff announcement. So, yeah, I guess fortunate time to be China. And this is what a lot of people have sort of jumped to and are saying is there's some funny business going on here. Funny business that's not so funny. Not so funny, indeed. But keep that feedback coming. Love hearing from you, the audience. I love the different perspectives. There is a whole, it's a wide swath of thoughts around this place. That is for sure. Send me that email, shaney@realagriculture.com. Okay, enough of that. Let's get started with the Farmer Rapid Fire. And we start off this week's Farmer Rapid Fire we're in Seaforth, Ontario. We're talking to Ethan Wallace. Ethan, how are we doing?
Very good. How's Shaun?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good. I don't know. We're almost at the end of March. Means we're getting a little bit closer to putting some seed in the ground. I'm kind of looking forward to, hey, how's the crop looking kind of talk.
Yeah, I was real excited last week when it was warm and sunny and no snow, and now we've got 3 inches of snow on the ground again. Not worrying that it's not going to ever go away.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a big dump of snow here at the back end of the week in like places like Regina, Saskatchewan. So, listen, this is the time of the year, Ethan, where we get teased, right? Where Mother Nature gives us about 2, 3, 4 days of like, ooh, spring, and then it's like, boom, back to January. That's kind of what we experience this time of the year.
Oh, absolutely, and hopefully it smartens up here quick so we can get some nitrogen out on the wheat and see how other things have come through the winter.
Yeah, is planning going pretty good? You're all set to go and ready to rock?
Yeah, the planning is in place. I had 50 acres of fall rye that I used to feed the cattle that did not survive the winter. It got snow mold very badly, and it literally wiped out the entire 50-acre field. So we'll be looking for something different for feed come August. But other than that, everything looks good. The wheat looks good. Didn't have any severe flooding from the snow melt that we had. So all in all, things look fairly positive.
Okay. And how are things at the dairy?
Cows are milking well. Things are going good, stable as ever. I guess that's the nature of our industry is to aim for stability. So yeah, things are going good. The cows are doing very well and are very healthy. So I really couldn't ask for much better.
Is it at the time of the year where you get to where you are in the field and then also trying to do the responsibilities of the dairy, is that where it kind of becomes a real juggling act?
When I was the only one, yes, it absolutely was. You would see things get missed in the barn because you were busy in the field. We are lucky enough to have a spectacular young woman that works for us, and she ensures that the barn is up to snuff every day, and the cows are looked after perfectly every day as well. So without Haley, we'd be lost around here. She is a huge part of our operation and helps make things go very well every day.
How long has she been with you?
I think 4 years it'll be 5 years in February. She's been with us now. Started when she was 20 or 21 years old with us, and has continued to grow and literally looks after everything in the dairy barn. I look after the cropping, I look after making feed, and then I do some chores when she's not here. But the day-to-day business is her baby in the barn, and she does very well at it.
Oh, cool. Good stuff. What else has happened on the farm in a week like this? What else is going on?
I am tearing down a pickleball court so that I can get some equipment into my shop and start doing some spring prep work on some equipment. I lost a battle with my wife last fall when she installed a pickleball court, and I lost my shop for the winter. But it's at that time that we got to get the planter in and gone over. It had most of the stuff done last fall before we put it away, but we'll just give it the quick once over and get it ready, and then we'll move the forage harvester in.
Okay, so who's better? You got to give us the details here. Who is better at pickleball, you or Joanna?
Oh, most certainly Joanna. I have zero coordination.
Zero?
Zero, none.
I didn't know this about what?
Can't curl. Nope. Can't do it. I get overly excited and I hit the ball far too hard and it goes everywhere but where I want it to go. So
you are not somebody we would describe as having soft hands.
No, I do. I have cement hands, that's for sure.
Yeah, a bit of a skillet, as they say in baseball. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So does she take it easy on you? Like, does she play with the opposite hand or anything like that? Or do you just like avoid it altogether? And if so, who does she play?
So she started her own mini league where we invited friends and neighbors every Monday night and actually played doubles. So I got to be on her team. Unfortunately, I was a liability and we didn't win many games, but had a lot of fun and got active with friends and neighbors in the shop for the winter. So
You know what though? Like win or lose, because I've played doubles with my wife too. It's maybe a bit of the opposite situation, but maybe we should pair the two of you up. By the sound of it, but I think it's kind of cool to get. I remember my grandparents always talking about how they would get local couples that were farming, in the community. They would all get together on Sunday afternoons and have like dart tournaments. And things like that, yep. Right? Which was really, let's be honest, that was an excuse to do something else, like,
Oh, absolutely, and so is pickleball.
And so is pickleball.
So is pickleball.
But it's good. You're getting some activity and stuff like that, right?
Played cards every Sunday. My dad curled 2 nights a week when I was a kid. Up until my 4-wheeler accident, I played broomball every week, and now after the accident with the bum leg, then I can't do that anymore. But it's an excuse to get out, and we are trapped in our own little world far too often. And I think doing things like that, getting out and sharing some time with neighbors and friends, and having a beverage and getting a bit active, it helps make the winter go a lot quicker and gives us an opportunity to refresh going into spring.
Yeah, well put. Like it. That's that is well put, and I think need more of that kind of stuff, more of those kind of opportunities, right? And if you don't have them in your local communities, in the community centers or complexes like the Y, just do it yourself in the shop. But eventually, you got to, like you said, you got to take down the pickleball court. We got to do some farming, like. But you could build one outside. You can always build one outside.
I could, but it'd be a little hard to play in the winter.
That is quite true. Hey, before I let you go, any big changes to the crop plan for the year ahead?
No, just like I said, with the fall rye not making it, we rolled one early soybean into a later soybean, try to push some yield. Other than that, most of our planning is based around how we feed the cows. So the corn, and then we need the wheat as well so that we can do our oats and barley afterwards. So everything's pretty firm for the year, other than a few minor changes here and there.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, Ethan, thanks so much for joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire. All the best to you, and hopefully you have yourself a great rest of your weekend to the weekend, and maybe before you take that cord down, you can beat Joanna once in pickleball. Maybe once. I'm cheering for you.
I will try. Thanks, Shaun.
I appreciate it. That is Ethan Wallace out of Seaforth, Ontario. We've got more of the Farmer Rapid Fire coming up here, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals.
It is time for today's product spotlight from Nutrien. It's Mike Howell, senior agronomist and, of course, host of the Dirt podcast. Where can growers go to find the latest in crop nutrition information to really dig into that ROI question on fertility this year?
We always like to recommend that people check out their local extension service. That's always a great source of information for local information. Also want to put in a plug for our website. That's nutrien-economics.com. On that website, we've got a lot of tools that growers can use to help determine their ROI. We've got a lot of research articles that are linked to that from your state research programs. We've got a lot of calculators there. We have a nutrient removal calculator. We've got an ROI calculator. A lot of useful tools on that website that growers can use. We've got an Ask the Agronomist feature. So if you've got a question on your local farm, you can type out a question there and I'll get that, or one of my counterparts will get that question, and we can get you an answer back on that pretty quickly. And all of this is free. It's an open website. Anybody can use that.
Peter Johnson at Wheat Pete, RealAgriculture.com, and what an opportunity! Oh my gosh! You think you can't grow better wheat? You are absolutely wrong. We're going to show you how to strive for those record wheat yields that they get in the UK and in New Zealand. You can grow 150 bushel wheat. I'll show you how.
Catch Wheat Pete's Word every Wednesday on RealAgriculture.com or download the podcast on iTunes or Spotify. welcome back to RealAg Radio for the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. And we're going to stop in Quebec now, and we're talking to Nic Dubuc. Nic, how are we doing?
Doing very well. Yourself?
Pretty good. Hey, where is the farm in Quebec again?
We're located about, I want to say, 20 kilometers south of Montreal, so southwest Quebec.
Nice. And how's the weather been?
It's been I guess not a whole lot of snow early in the winter, a lot of snow in February, and it all melted really quickly in March. So right now we're at basically 0% snow cover, and every day is different. We go from, warm days, 15, 20 Celsius during the day, to last few days we had a bit of snow on the ground early in the morning, but it melts during the day.
Yeah. We're getting teased on spring a little bit.
Yeah. Well, still early, I guess. So, but yeah, it's getting me a little bit nervous now. I need to get some equipment ready. I need to get my new planter on the farm pretty quickly.
Oh, okay. What'd you get for a new planter?
Well, we had a fairly old one, a new ID planter. So we bought a used 6-row planter in Eastern Ontario. Bought it last fall because I was nervous about not being able to find anything, I guess, during the winter. Now we just have to get it home now that the roads are clean.
Okay. So when you were shopping out and about for a replacement planter, did you consider a bunch of different brands, or did you kind of know what you were looking for and you just had to find it? How did that go?
We basically had a target to get a John Deere planter, like a 1750 or something similar to that. Not too old, 6 rows. So we just started looking for one. There was literally nothing last fall. We finally found that one private sale about 3 hours from here and ended up buying it. And now it seems like everybody around me is selling their 6-row 1750 planter.
Forever thus. Isn't it always weird how it's just funny how that works out?
Yeah. Impossible to find. And once you bought it, they're everywhere.
Yeah. So, okay. So what would be your, we are early here, but what would be your ideal start date? What date are you kind of planning for?
Well, I guess I'd really like to be in the field in, I'd say, first 2 weeks of April, at least for fertilizer and the fall rye and in hay fields. And then, knowing by mid-April if alfalfa stand survives the winter, right, so we can get ready to get everything in the ground. But, as far as corn goes, usually we don't really get started before. Earliest for us would be about April 25th to May 1st. We don't go very early. We're mostly no-till. So, yeah, we still have a way to go for corn and beans, but other crops, hay crops, and small grains when we do spring grains, that type of stuff, the earlier the better. So that's why I'm getting kind of nervous, because I guess things can turn around fairly quickly. It can dry out fairly quick where we could be in the field for some of that field work within, I guess, a couple of weeks maybe, especially fertilizer spreading.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you have winter wheat, right?
Winter rye. Yeah.
Winter rye. How's it looking?
I'm really happy about it, to be honest. That was our first fall where we actually broadcasted in beans before defoliation. And we seeded it at exactly the right time. It got like 20 millimeters of rain, then it didn't rain for almost a couple of months or very little, but we still had good establishment. And then this spring, we didn't have any warmer spells in February where it melts down and then you've got ice everywhere. It was a really nice winter for that. It stayed frozen until, early mid-March. So winter survival so far looks really good. I'm really happy about it. So we consider our stand survived winter right now.
And are you a dry fertilizer or a liquid fertilizer guy?
We're doing dry fertilizer for everything because we don't have huge amounts, so it's more convenient. The co-op is the next town over. It's like a 10 minutes drive by tractor, so we can go get our fertilizer really easily, and dry is just easier for that.
Yeah. And do you typically work with that same co-op all the time? Like that's kind of your go-to retailer?
For fertilizer, it is. I guess, we're looking at prices. We're kind of shopping elsewhere too, just to see. Everything's fairly close. We're fairly central. That's convenient, but they're the most convenient for actually getting the fertilizer, getting the spread, because we use one of their spreaders as well for broadcast fertilizer. So it's convenient being that close, and we don't have to rely on deliveries. So that's one of the main reasons why we deal with that specific place. But when it comes to seed and herbicides, we're going to shop around more. So we're not dependent on them for everything.
It's interesting. Somebody said to me yesterday, and I have no data. I'm just sharing anecdotes and observations. Just curious what you think. Had somebody say to me yesterday that they've been hearing from retails that in these tighter times for farmers, people are more even the most like service oriented customers, like where service was number one, even they're being more price conscious right now. What do you think?
I would agree with that. I think we looked around more last fall for fertilizer than we did previously. We still ended up going with them for this year, but yeah, we're kind of shopping around more. Even we tend to be a very loyal customers. If we get good service and everything, we're going to stick around. We're not going to move place for $10 a bag of corn or that type of stuff. But yeah, I think we're looking more at the different options for everything. We're shopping a little more for everything, even for parts and stuff like that, just because, lower prices and lower profitability. Everybody has to take care for their business. So, yeah.
What's the attitude amongst the neighbors in terms of the outlook for 25? How are people feeling right now?
I'd say, obviously grain prices are not great, so I think that's the moral doesn't seem to be that great, I'd say, and all that uncertainty right now, because it's everything, it's inputs, it's equipment, parts, everything with the tariffs as well that they're talking about. So I think that the moral is not super great. And I was speaking to a friend of mine yesterday that works. We have a lot of vegetable growers around here. A lot of their production is exported to like the Boston and New York markets in the summer, and they are getting really nervous in that. I guess in that segment, it's still not too late. They started planting in greenhouses and stuff like that, but that April 2nd deadline, I think they really want to know what's coming, because, you're investing 10 times what you're investing in corn and beans to get a crop planted. It's perishable, and you don't even know if you'll have access or if you'll get slapped with whatever tariff there could be. So, in that specific segment, I feel like there's even more uncertainty right now. There's a lot of concerns about what's coming in the future.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody else about the veg sector as well earlier this week, and same comments. You think there's concern about what's going on with Canadian canola or some of the other China tariffs and what's happening with the U.S., how it could impact proteins like pork and beef.
Yeah.
The vegetable sector is really worried because it's perishable. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, ultimately, you look at the entire agriculture sector, canola. I hear about, even here, there's not that much canola in Quebec that's being grown, but I hear growers talking about it. Obviously, pork is a big one, so that's a big concern. And I think for a lot of people, some of those things, they're concerns, but they're, without saying they're being addressed, at least they feel like they're being seen. But those later tariffs with canola, I think the biggest concern is there's the tariff issue, and it's felt like it's not being seen or addressed by anyone right now.
Yeah.
Or I'm not even sure how that could easily be addressed, because I feel like there's a bigger geopolitical issue behind all this. So,
Nic, thanks so much for joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire on RealAg Radio. Really appreciate it, and all the best of luck to you this spring, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
And, of course, the Farmer Rapid Fire is brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. We're right back here on RealAg Radio, Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM, right after this.
Growing corn? With Envita, you can cut your nitrogen and maintain yield, or maintain nitrogen and increase yield. Envita takes nitrogen from the air and turns it into nitrogen for your corn. It provides a right place, right time source of nitrogen to maximize your yield. Farmers who use Envita see healthier plants, bigger cobs, and less tipback. Envita is guaranteed to add more bushels to every treated acre. Start growing with Envita. Visit azotic.com to learn more. That's AZOTIC.com.
Get all the information you need to keep your pulse crop healthy and profitable with the Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com. The Pulse School is a free YouTube video series covering agronomy, research, and more across a host of different pulse crops. It's also available as an audio podcast wherever you download or stream your favorite podcasts. Check us out on YouTube or visit RealAgriculture.com. The Pulse School, brought to you by BSF Canada.
I'm Lindsay Smith from RealAgriculture.com. Join me Monday nights for The Agronomists, a 1-hour live and interactive show broadcast across YouTube, Facebook, and X. Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, I host expert agronomists from all over the country to give you answers to some of the toughest agronomic questions. Join us live or catch the replay Tuesday morning. That's The Agronomists with me, Lindsay Smith, Monday nights live at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Up next in the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. We're going to Plumas, Manitoba. We're talking to Randy Court. Randy, how are we doing?
All right, good, Shaun. Thank you.
Well, you all ready for spring?
We're getting pretty close, yes. The equipment's all been through the shop all winter, and we'll probably just do some final touches once we get things hooked up.
And you got all your seed ready to get, farmers to pick up?
Yes, yeah. Cleaning is all done. The stuff is all in the bin, waiting for the customers. A lot of it gets treated as it heads out to the field, so we encourage farmers not to store treated seed, and we more or less treat on demand. So
right.
We'll be doing a lot of that in the next month or two.
Any big swings in acre? Like when you look at the StatsCan estimate of what acres are going to be for a province like Manitoba, and you see what seed's been popular from a variety and crop type perspective, anything stick out oddly for you?
Nothing's odd. I would say overall it's going to be, most farmers will take a good rotation. We're going to see maybe a slight increase in corn in our areas, grain corn especially. I mean, silage corn has been around for a while, but the grain corn is definitely coming up. And we may see a slight drop in the pulses and the oil seeds, but it'd be pretty minor. Yeah.
That kind of makes sense what we've been hearing. Grain corn going up because people believe there's a good domestic market for it. Is that why?
That and yes, and the returns are the returns are good. It spreads out harvest. It's a different crop altogether. It happens after the main harvest is finished. There people have spent a lot of money on infrastructure for drying and that type of thing. So as they do, they can ramp up their acres.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And I imagine you said treating on demand. I can only imagine. Like I was in the game a while ago. I've been out for a bit, but I couldn't imagine all the different. Here's your seed treatment, and what about? Can you put on this? Can you put on that? There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and oh, by the way, what about this other thing I heard about? There's probably lots of that kind of a la carte sort of treating going on. You're
absolutely right. There's most of our treaters are set up to handle up to 3 products simultaneously.
Wow.
So we're running 3 treaters that can handle 3 products simultaneously. So we can do the starter fertilizer or some sort of biological, and with the regular treatments, it depends on compatibility. And so there's lots of, say, a la carte would be a good definition of it.
Is that is that a pain in the butt? You can be honest. No, just you and I talking here, Randy. You can be honest with us.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always nice to be simple. I mean, the KISS approach is keep it simple. Stupid is always the way to be. But if there's a need for the product, why not? Why not fulfill the need? Most of the producers have researched their products and they have made a decision throughout the winter, and they just need somebody to do the work for them. So that's where we come in.
You tired of all the election talk on TV and the radio yet?
Yeah, we find ourselves getting a little bit numb to it. We kind of tend to tune it out, I guess. And one thing great about farming is that as it ramps up here, we'll just start ignoring that, and we'll just go back to work and make our life a lot simpler.
Yeah, it kind of seems like this election is really just coming down to how whoever is successful, the two major parties, who is going to handle some of the trade issues with the Americans, the supposed best is kind of what it all coming down to.
I think you're right, Shaun. I think that's probably exactly what it is. I look at it a little deeper. I'm afraid that most of our government policies are based out of bureaucrats' advice in Eastern Canada, where the votes are. And all the parties fight over the Eastern Canadian vote, and Western Canada tends to get a little bit thrown under the bus. So it's unfortunate, but that's the way it's been forever. I don't think that's going to change in this election either. So
yeah, anything come to mind as far as what you'd like to see change, no matter who wins? What would be a benefit? What's something somebody could do to be like, okay, that's there. Now we're talking. I appreciate that.
I would appreciate somebody standing up for agriculture in Western Canada and saying, hey, this is a priority. We're not going to do anything in our policies to jeopardize food production in the world. And stepping back and, don't throw krill under the bus to save aluminum and iron production in Eastern Canada or any other industry. Put some priority on food production. That's what I'd like to see happen. So,
any big machinery purchases for the year ahead?
Ourselves, like everybody else, we're being pretty tight.
Oh, you got cheap on us, is what happened.
Yeah, I was just in the dealership talking to them, and they're all worried because there's people canceling orders already, just over the fear of the unknown. We haven't seen a big downturn in the markets yet. We've had some little ripples, but people are afraid of the future. And everybody's looking after number one, being themselves. Well, and so if they can push the machinery for another couple of years, they're going to do it.
Well, and the question's like, okay, I've got this ordered today, but it's not coming till some date into the future. Could there be a tariff on that? And if there is, who's responsible for it? And that kind of level of uncertainty creates indecision where you're like, like you said, I can maybe wait 24 months and maybe it'll be calmer waters and I'll know a little bit more cost certainty. Maybe the price will be lower too.
Exactly, Shaun. It is just too much unknown right now, and this uncertainty is causing people to be reactive and cautious.
Yeah. Do you have seed customers on the south side of the border?
No, we don't.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay.
We're all within Western Canada. So
yeah, I remember when I was in the seed game, we had a number of customers in Montana. So yeah, just it kind of all depends what you're set up for and who you've been traditionally dealing with and stuff like that. Hey, earlier on the show we heard from Ethan Wallace. He was talking about how his wife smokes him in pickleball. What's your winter activity to kind of keep active? Do you have one?
Other than work, Shaun, that's the number one thing is probably work. I keep really busy doing various hobbies. I like electrical work. I'm always rebuilding electric motors and doing stuff like that. I kind of love that kind of stuff.
Going up and down the leg at the seed plant, that does count.
Okay, that does count. Well, I do that once in a while too. Yes, but yeah, no, we do have a cabin that we use all winter long, and so I get out and do those type of activities. And believe it or not, I just love things like cutting wood and stoking the fire and inviting friends over to the cabin. That's probably my number one activity.
Randy Court, a man's man, chopping wood, burning a fire. Like you do it all. Do you do like the real stereotypical thing, like you're in plaid and stuff like that when you're doing it too?
I really don't care what I wear. As long as I'm comfortable and I'm not offending anybody, I'm good.
Exactly. So, hey,
basically our cabin is off grid, so we basically go out and live like a settler would. I mean,
nice.
And with some luxuries of internet or whatever, but that's as far as it gets. So, yeah.
I was gonna say, we're living like a pioneer or a settler, but we've got internet in the cabin. Yeah, so that's
you bet.
You got the best of both worlds. Best of both worlds. Do you have cell service there? Well, you must if you got internet.
Cell service is very weak, but we do have internet though. Yes.
Yeah, good stuff. Use it in the summertime too.
Yes, but a lot less because we are farmers and we're producers first, and that comes priority. So
that is true.
It's actually I get the most kick out of our cabin and relaxation if we can do it during the winter when we can schedule our time off. So.
Yeah. Well, Randy, I know you got a busy time here. You're getting seed out to customers and putting your own seed in the ground for the 2025 crop. So all the best to you, and we'll talk to you when stuff gets up, okay?
Well, thank you very much, Shaun. We appreciate the support.
Great stuff. We're talking to Randy Court out of Manitoba. We'll be back with more of the Farmer Rapid Fire brought to you by Corteva Agri-Sciences and Corteva Biologicals right after this. Every farmer defines success differently, and every farm has its own unique challenges. Corteva Biologicals is partnering with Canadian farmers for their success, offering unique solutions that improve and protect crops from start to finish, based on each field's needs. Using proven, predictable solutions across all crop stages, Corteva Biologicals helps build healthy, productive, and profitable farms. Corteva Biologicals, we're growing together.
It's summertime, and you've got a lot of important decisions to make when it comes to your corn crop. Let the Corn School on RealAgriculture.com help guide you through those big decisions with input from leading experts in the field. If it's spray timing, disease identification, or any other field issue, the Corn School's got you covered. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com, brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
Welcome back to the Farmer Rapid Fire here on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. And we're stopping in Alberta next. Got Kent Erickson from Irma, Alberta. Kent, welcome back to the show.
Great to be here, Shaun.
You all ready for spring, my friend?
No, definitely not. I think, winter was an interesting one. There was definitely a long cold spell, and on the farm, family still in the middle of a lot of sports and a lot of things going on. And, we're starting to catch up. I think there's a few little things, some tweaks. Now we're getting outside because the weather is nice and the water's running and we're getting there, but definitely behind.
Yeah. But honestly, we're still, what are we, the back end of March here? In your area, what are you, 3 weeks away from maybe putting seed in the ground, or what is it?
Yeah, I think your top third, maybe not your top guys would look, if we had a real drier year, early April, peas and some really early wheat might get thought about around April 25th to 30th.
Yeah.
But really the guys are going, typically by May 5th, guys are full out on a normal year. I mean, lots of times we get that late snow or wet weather at the end of April. But yeah, guys are thinking about it. We still have, snow. A lot has went here in the last couple of days, but we still got snow and lots of muddy conditions up here right now.
And if I got this right, you're starting calving here right away too?
Yeah. Technically, yesterday was our first day. We got about 6 just kind of nicely started. So typically we're supposed to get a little bit of a snowstorm, which kicks off our calving season. And just kind of getting going now. So we're hopeful. I don't mind having a little bit of snow come. We could use, now that the frost is gone a little bit, some of this moisture can go down, because we came into the fall and into this winter extremely dry.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about your moisture outlook.
Yeah, we there's some lines kind of to the northeast of us. Kind of once you get to Vermilion, it got quite a bit better between Irma and Vermilion. But you go southwest of us, Sedgwick, Bashaw, that way, we were quite dry. It was probably one of the worst years dating back to even the drought for us, I think, anyways, other than we combined, crop this year. It was pretty dry. All our dugouts were empty. There was no sloughs going into the winter. We just had kind of 2 years of low snowfall, some real dry conditions in the fall, and all the dugouts are full right now. But it's going to take quite a bit to bring our moisture levels back up.
And remind me, Kent, now the beef operation, this is relatively new, correct?
Yes and no, Shaun. So we had no cows when I was born, 1980. The last cow left the farm. My grandpa had some cows. Dad never had cows and wasn't interested. He liked to specialize in grain. So we were basically without cows until 2003 when I got married. My wife was on a cattle herd on a ranch, and actually she came with a dowry of 14 cows. We chose to keep them, and we've got some really nice coulee land. We'd rent it out, and we decided, let's keep them. And we've kind of fluctuated up and down since then, and now we're up to 150 cow calf. And it's good this year. It was that check this year on the cattle side really kind of propped up the grain side for us. And they talk about mixed farming. It's sometimes a challenge because you're busy 12 months of the year, but it really does offset each other because a lot of times they're in different cycles.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was more recent. I didn't realize it was part of the dowry. That's hey, that worked out to be a pretty good deal for you.
Yeah, we did go away for a while, like in my heyday, back when I was a little more involved on the political side. We did have quite as many. I think we even one year we maybe sold most of them. But yeah, we've always had them. It was good for the kids. Between Tosh and I, we like having animals. It gives you a little bit of that husbandry and respect for nature, and it also great that we have some coulee land that we can't farm, so it might as well use it ourselves. Yeah, and like you said, it's a nice little financial diversification at times like this because the market's been pretty bloody strong for the beef side. Yeah, absolutely. I remember, Shaun, one year we sold steers for just under $1 a pound in the fall. So, fast forward to 2025 or 2024, I guess, in the fall. I mean, those prices, when you're getting $2,800 for an animal, prices it's all relative, right? Feed prices is more, machinery is more, but yeah, it's a real fun run right now to help offset some of the grain. It kind of looks after some of my iron here, but it's been definitely an asset to have those cows. Do you see the beef operation growing or kind of stabilizing from here? We're a little bit stable now. I'm not a big fan, maybe that'll change of moving cows a long ways away for pasture. We're fortunate enough to have pasture within, say, 10 miles. I think if I had to expand the herd, it would have to go further away than that. Having said that, you've been through it as well now. You got a transition of family. So I've got, one son's turning 21 this year, and a daughter's in university, and another one, so in order for them, if they're interested in any sort of the farm, operation, they have to diversify and have to like the cows or the grain. And so I think we'll probably level out for a while, and then we'll see. We're in a fairly competitive market in our area for grain. And so the cows have been able to kind of offset, kind of that challenge that keeps us busy with animals. Land price has been still pretty stiff in that area? Yeah. I haven't seen a whole lot of changeover lately. I mean, there's still always land around, but yeah, no, they're still strong. Probably the last stuff that was sold was late in the winter, but yeah, it's still pretty strong up here. Yeah. Well, and then what happens is you're like, okay, can I improve the land that I have? Because that's obviously cheaper than buying more. Or is there things that I can do with the land I already own that I haven't been doing? And like your example, the coulee land, that makes a lot of sense. You're getting some revenue off of that land. You can't farm it anyways. And then it's an extra bonus when it actually works to be pretty financially positive to be able to put cows on that coulee land. Yeah, absolutely. It's been really good for us that way. We went through some, I'd say some average years on the cattle side. You're out there in April, tagging and doing all that stuff. And it's because it's definitely a lot more labor intensive. There's really no replacement for a cow-calf operation to do it robotically or with machinery, much like, grain and a lot of other industries. They're able to replace technology to make things efficient. Cow-calf is really just one of those things that takes people on the ground, husbandry. I guess one exception would be cameras. Cameras is a really nice feature. Yeah. If you have a barn, you have an area, that would be one definite. So you don't have to get up every 2 or 3 hours. You can, use a camera, but it really has a lot of hands-on, which can be trying. But when you have, like I said, good cattle prices in the fall and helping offset the grain, it makes it worth it. Earlier in the show, we were Ethan Wallace, dairy farmer from Ontario. He broke the news that his wife smokes him in pickleball. Is there an activity that
when you play, your wife tends to come up on the upper hand on it?
My wife was a really good hockey player. Hockey runs through all of our family. I think if you went back through minor hockey and through, she has a lot more accolades than I ever did.
Nice.
And I think, she's going to kill me for telling you this, but she probably led the league at least 2 or 3 years in minor hockey in scoring as well as penalties.
Oh.
So, that's kind of a unique one, but she's very competitive. I'm not sure where that would stand now. Both of us have slowed down a little bit there, but definitely hockey, she has the upper hand. A lot of hockey skill on her side of the family.
Nice. Are you still playing rec hockey?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. I'm transitioning a little bit with the kids kind of getting out of the house. My during the week's a little quieter. I'm doing a little more curling.
Okay.
Locally, curling. And then actually talking about, I just kind of grabbed the badminton racket again. My daughter's playing badminton this year, and I chose to go out and help them a little bit. And I enjoyed badminton. So, staying a little bit active. Hockey, it's a little busier. Our ice times are Sunday nights, and a lot of times I'm at the rink all weekend, and it's hard to get out. But, still staying out there.
That's what I hate about rec hockey. Like, guys, men's league or whatever, it's like, our ice time's 10:30 at night. Oh, that's, like, super awesome. That's exactly what I want to be doing at 10:30 at night. So,
exactly. It's tough to get to those later ones when you've been there all day, but it's nice. Once you're there, it's good. You get to have a visit and obviously a beverage, talk about what's going on with everybody else. And, it's nice. I know my dad told me that, he quit a little bit earlier than I now. And he said, for as long as you can stay physical and stay active, it's the best thing for you, even if it seems like it's dragging yourself out of the house.
Absolutely. Hey, Kent, thanks a lot for joining us here today on the Farm Rapid Fire. All the best to you.
Yep. Thanks. You too, Shaun.
Okay, we got to take one more break here on the Farmer Rapid Fire on RealAg Radio, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. Be back right after this.
If you're involved in the agriculture industry, it's important to stay informed on all the latest issues affecting your business. At RealAgriculture.com, we offer fast, reliable news, information, and insights to help you keep on top of all of the latest in Canadian agriculture. Visit RealAgriculture.com and sign up for our free daily newsletter covering everything from news, agronomy, animal agriculture, and much more. Visit RealAgriculture.com/subscribe today.
The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is your one-stop shop for everything a canola grower needs. Check out our free video series on YouTube for all the latest in canola agronomy, research, marketing, and more. Don't have time to watch? Download the podcast version of the Canola School on RealAgriculture.com or anywhere you download your podcasts. Stay on top of all things canola with the Canola School on RealAgriculture.com, brought to you by BASF and Invigor Hybrid Canola.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio, here for the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. And speaking of Corteva Biologicals, we have the product manager for biologicals for Canada for Corteva. It is Tammy Jones. Tammy, it's great to chat with you again.
Hey, Shaun. How's it going?
Pretty good. Okay, what's happening right now? What are farmers in full flight trying to just do that final prep, getting everything kind of in line and ready for the year?
I don't know about you, but I think the thing that I've been hearing is, how do I manage my costs? This might be a tight year. Margins are a little bit tighter. Not sure what we're doing. And one of the things that I kind of caution against is we've probably already made some of our major fertilizer purchases. We've probably already made some of our seed purchases. And in my mind, pinching pennies is great, but we can't save ourselves into prosperity. And there are times where we're going to need to address some stresses, make sure that we keep that yield potential there. So a couple of thoughts that come to mind. One would be cold soils early on. If we're trying to get in there early, take advantage of the moisture that's there, but it's a little bit cooler, then let's make sure that we're putting on a seed treatment to protect for disease, but maybe adding in a biological as well to enhance germination, even that crop out, make sure that it's as competitive as possible, and obtain that yield potential that we're really looking for. And so something like a fortified stimulate yield enhancer is an opportunity to protect that investment that we've already made.
Yeah, no doubt. throughout the winter here, I've had a lot of questions from the Real Ag audience in terms of cost cutting. And we've done some research looking at where are farmers looking to cut costs, and have compared that to some parallel data in the U.S. And I think one thing that comes out for sure that my message has been is make sure you know your numbers. So just because somebody says they're eliminating a category, for example, like I'm not doing this period. It's like, I don't know. If it was providing you with a return over the past number of years, I'm not sure this is why would you cut that out? But it's knowing those numbers.
And I think that's a really important thing is that the return on investment, when you're mitigating a stress, like when you're actually taking care of a problem that's out there, say heat stress, for instance, if you've got a canola crop that's already coming along and you're looking at a period where there's some excess heat, you're probably going into flowering at that point in time and you want to protect that yield potential. There's an opportunity with a biological like Excite to get in there and make sure that you're covering that. And so knowing your numbers and making sure that you've got that under control is really important. I agree 100%.
Yeah. You don't want to save a nickel to spend $1.
Right. And the margin potential that's there, or the return on investment potential that's there is really significant. If we look at what some of the folks in the U.S. are doing with corn and soybean yields, and then we look at what we've got for yields at this point in time, there's a bit of genetic potential that we're not achieving yet. And if we're looking to put more in the bin and maybe make another $1, those small investments really do add up. Yeah, and it's also important to lay the groundwork for the future so you know some of this information. So on-farm trials and side-by-sides, and not the motorized kind. Side-by-side trial. Hey, a side-by-side to go out after and check it. Absolutely. A great idea. Then you've got it. But if you've got an opportunity where you're wondering, am I really going to be able to overcome the stress that's there, a hail event, to cold weather, whatever it might be, then work with some of our team to make sure that we position the product right and that we've got the expectations there, and then do that assessment. I've seen some really dramatic results when we put that in the field and actually test the product. So seeing is believing. Don't be afraid to try it. And just because I know you got a passion for killing weeds, I do. Any thoughts on that front as we head into 25? I mean, it's really important to make sure that you're selecting a product that kills the weeds. So a couple of things there. And this is one where biologicals maybe has a hand to play as well. If you have that even germination and that good crop competition right off the hop, then you're enhancing the efficacy of that herbicide by making sure that you've got that competitive crop to go with your herbicide choice. And then you also have that opportunity with the herbicide. Usually you've got a more even crop. You've got no problems worrying about staging. You can go in when you need to. It just makes things easier. So you can set yourself up for success by sort of adding in some of these layers. It gets to be maybe a little complex from the first time that you're doing it, but it just becomes a habit. And you start to realize that, hey, I've set myself up for success over and over and over again. Might as well keep doing it. Great stuff. Hey, Tammy, thanks so much for joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire here on RealAg Radio. Thanks, Shaun. Okay, we heard from our farmers here today. We also heard from Tammy Jones from Corteva. Now it's your turn. Give us your update. Also, would you be interested in being on the Farmer Rapid Fire? Send me that email, shaney@realagriculture.com. Or, of course, you can find Real Agriculture across all the different social media platforms. Or you can always just call the Real Ag feedback line. That number is 855-776-6147. Thanks, everybody, for getting real and getting connected with Real Ag Radio. Make sure you go to Corteva's website and talk to them and check out their Corteva Biologicals portfolio, as they are the sponsor here of the Farmer Rapid Fire, or talk to your local retailer. Thanks, everybody, for getting real and getting connected with Real Ag Radio. Chat again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.